All right, are we live? I guess so. Yes, we should be live. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to webinar with Evelyn Demirov from River Cleaner. I think you should see us already. So please, in the next few minutes, just write to us if you can hear us. I will soon introduce Evelyn, and just we want to make sure that you can hear us and see us so that everything works perfectly from the tech side. And welcome who are just joining. And so during the Seller Optimization Summit 2 months ago, I had a session with Evelyn about Kickstarter campaigns. But he's actually probably big expert in Amazon terms and conditions changes. He's always being notified about news which are published on Amazon websites. And he's running a River Cleaner tool. Maybe we'll ask him to tell shortly what is that tool about. But he's serving a lot of Amazon sellers, and he, I think, has some knowledge about keyword indexing, which is changing all the time, and there are some new things to learn. So, Evelyn, welcome to the webinar.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, can you hear Evelyn? I hope everyone, people can hear me. Okay.
1, 2, 3, testing. Let me know if you can hear me well.
I think they can hear us. All good. So, Evelyn, can you shortly tell us what you will talk today, and then we will ask from which countries are people joining to our webinar?
Sure, yeah. So we're getting a lot of comments and questions about people are seeing a lot of drop in sales recently, so I'm getting a lot of questions. So we decided we can make a short hangout to explain what's going on with Amazon, because people start complaining, they don't understand what are the changes. And at River Cleaner, what we do is we monitor every single page on Amazon terms of service and style guides for changes. So we're the first to know if something changes on Amazon, including interface in the front and in the back. So we get a lot of knowledge about the terms of service and the style guides. And also we're doing a lot of experiments how this affects Amazon listings, indexing, ranking. So today I prepared a little, slides for you to explain what exactly is indexing and how you should optimize a listing for Amazon, including all of your title, bullet points, description. And also we'll talk about the enhanced content for those of you who have it already or brand registered.
Sounds good. So I see a lot of people are joining this webinar. So everyone in the chat, please type what are you joining our webinar from. As always, I expect mix of Europeans and US people because of the timing we set for the webinar. And there is a reason behind, because I'm sitting in Germany. And Evelyn, where do you live?
I'm right now in Montreal, Canada.
All right. So Evelyn is by Eastern time zone and I'm by German time zone. All right. So people are joining also from Canada, Anaheim. Have you been in Anaheim, Evelyn?
Never been.
I have no idea how far is it from you. Someone from Houston, Texas. So I'm sure there are some Europeans as well. Great. So people can hear us perfectly. I think we don't need to delay anything anymore. And yeah, let's start with the presentation, I guess. So Donna says she's she's Irish, based in France. So another European logged in, San Francisco, California. Great. All right.
I'll take over.
Yes. So yeah, try to share the screen and looking forward
guys,
to hear.
if you have any questions, I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions, but we're prepared to answer all of your questions now and after the webinar. So you can write that in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer during the webinar. And those who are not answered, I will make sure that to answer them after the webinar. I'm going to share my screen now so I can show you what we will be talking about.
Yes,
so first of all,
your screen, but not a full size, not full screen. I think we don't see it. I think, oh, wait, yes, it's loading. Yeah, it's a full screen. Perfect. Someone says that he's logging in from India, so I imagine it should be a late night for Davesh Shailandra. Interesting. All right.
All right. So first of all, if you don't know what is indexing, this is how Wikipedia describes indexing for search engines, because Amazon is using A9 search engine. So it's one of the biggest search engines in the world. So search engine indexing collects, parses, and stores data to facilitate fast and accurate information retrieval. So in simple words, this means that when you search for a keyword, Amazon is making an index of all the keywords and a connection with an ASIN. So for example, if you look for notebook, which will be the search term, you will get 470,000 results, which means this keyword is connected to that many listings on Amazon, or otherwise said ASINs. So what happened recently is that Amazon is trying to implement machine learning, which is a technology that they've been working for a long time. But 2 years ago, they announced in AWS, they announced machine learning. And people were speculating a lot if they're using machine learning or not. But if you look on internet, you can find quite a bit of information that they're actually using machine learning, and they can't really switch right away to machine learning. So they are trying, few categories at a time. Amazon, they are known for the split testing. They've been doing that split testing from 1995. So they have a lot of experience, what works and what's not working. So this is what Jeff Bezos said, I think last year. And what I highlighted here, what it's in bold, you can see that he actually says that they use machine learning for improved search results. Yeah, so as I said, machine learning is not new. It's been, for a while. It's been, become public in 2 years, but recently, in the last few months, they started implementing that into the front end, so we can get, so buyers can get a lot of the benefits from the machine learning. And this is how it actually affects us. A lot of people, we've had like hundreds of emails, people asking me, why we're losing sales. And this was the most probable. I personally spoke to many reps from Amazon. And, when you call Amazon, you don't always speak to someone knowledgeable. But I got few reps that were, up to date with all the recent changes and what what they told me is that actually Amazon is switching to machine learning, which will, take some time, for all the changes, to get all the information. They have a huge catalog, and it takes time. So people are seeing probably for the last 2 months drop in sales. It's coming in back. So this is what we learned at River Cleaner, because the main feature of the software is to check indexing, and people are seeing, if you're looking for a keyword, for example, if you search for a keyword, and if you search for a keyword phrase, sometimes the keyword is indexed and the keyword phrase is not indexed, and vice versa. So how do we check indexing? First of all, the simple thing is, if you search for a keyword in Amazon, if you get a result, this means that this keyword is indexed, which means it's connected to a listing. Many people are searching with ASIN plus a keyword. Reality is you just need some unique keywords as a reference, so that it shows only your listing instead of all the results on Amazon. So the simple way to check indexing is your ASIN space any keywords that you're checking, or multiple keywords separated by space. So this is an example for keyword charm that is not indexed. You can see it says we found 0 results for that ASIN, which means the keyword, the search term charm, is not indexed. It's not connected. Amazon doesn't consider relevant to that ASIN. So how indexing works is Amazon decides if the search term is relevant for that listing. If you do another search for the same ASIN, but you put 2 keywords, which is actually a search term phrase, this will show 1 result. And if you can see, it's in orange. Amazon shows results, positive results in orange, and if it's in black, it means a negative result. So if you can see that same keyword is in the search term, in the phrase, but in this case, it is indexed. So what is indexed? What is indexing actually on Amazon? These are the fields which actually Amazon will take: the product name, the brand name and the manufacturer name, your seller's name, variation names, bullet point description, search term fields, what you otherwise call backend keywords, and some of the additional information fields. So this is how, let's talk about the confusion that people have about separating spaces with commas. We've done a lot of testing with this one because people are claiming different opinions, how they should, if you call Amazon, they will actually tell you both. Some reps will tell you you should separate with commas, some will tell you should separate only with a space. And people ask, should I ask space and comma, or comma space, or should I just separate phrases with comma and all the other keywords with spaces? So we haven't been sure for a while how this actually worked, but when we start looking into machine learning and we start doing the tests, you can see that you can actually separate keywords with almost anything you want. Like you can input different characters between the keywords, and they will still give you results. You can even put multiple, different symbols as separators, and you'll still get the same result. For example, this one here, what I did. Or you can, this is the only probably character that is different because it's an OR operator. It means one or the other. So if you look on Amazon, if you search for charm and that pipe symbol and then rustic, for example, you will get results for charm or rustic, both keywords. And you can see here in the search, I separated them with a lot of spaces, and Amazon doesn't care. So this is what happens in reality. In reality, Amazon is actually ignoring when you have multiple spaces. And if you have a separation by a comma, for example, or a pipe symbol or plus or any other of these symbols, they will actually replace them with a space. So whatever you type between the keywords, it will be replaced by a space. So same in the backend keywords. If you separate your keywords with, for example, comma and then a space, so one keyword, comma, space, and then another keyword, actually Amazon will ignore that comma. Will not ignore it, will replace it by a space. And when you end up with two spaces, it will ignore one of the spaces. It will take only in consideration one of the spaces. So this actually right now, people who wonder, this will explain why you can separate with spaces and with commas and both, and it doesn't affect your search results. It will be exactly the same result. You will not be penalized. Amazon in different places state different things. Like in some style guides, they tell you have to only separate with commas. This was the old way. Back in the days, they don't update often and in all places. Like in the help section, you can see they update the information sometimes, but then in the PDF guidelines, they don't update that information. So when people check different resources for that information, they see different information. So it's always confusing with Amazon. They do a lot of changes all the time. They do a lot of testing. We actually even suspect that they have, same as Google, they have like a little they actually implement in the algorithm like some random algorithm, so some random stuff that makes it impossible to figure out exactly what they're doing. So that drop in sales in the last few months was probably because of another split testing that they're doing. We tested a lot of different variations, and we've seen results from testing. So people never change people who doesn't change the backend search terms notice that they lose a lot of sales, and when they update it to separate the keywords with commas instead of spaces, they start seeing results. And vice versa, people who have commas in the backend and updated that to spaces started to see more sales. And what we figure out is going on is actually when you change something in the backend, you just delete something and you add something more. And when you click save, 15 minutes after, Amazon will re-index because they're actually re-indexing the catalog all the time. So if you just update something on the backend, it will help you re-index your information, and it can be in your for a benefit. So this is the one thing that you have to do regularly, is tweak something inside your Seller Central account. Either your title, bullet points, whatever it is, the information, or just in the backend keywords. And it makes sense because Amazon wants you to see that you're working constantly on your listing, and it could be even something in their algorithm that gives you a little boost if you make a little change in the backend. So this is what is not indexed. So enhanced brand content for now is not indexed. Customer questions and answers, customer reviews, and premium keywords if you're not a platinum merchant. So these are not indexed currently by Amazon. This can change anytime. But here is a trick for you. When you have enhanced brand content, you still have your product description in place and it's still indexed, but it's not visible. You can only see the enhanced brand content. So what you can actually do is use your product description box to put more relevant keywords in there. Actually, what I was doing is I will take all of my backend keywords and I will place them in the description because description should have more priority than the backend keywords. And in the search, in the style guides, it's Amazon states that keyword backend keywords are not required, which means you can leave them empty. They're not as important and as all the other information that you have in the front. Search them. So this is what I explained earlier, how you can separate with any number of characters in the backend. And you can see the second line is what I enter, and the third line is what will be actually read by Amazon. So you don't have to worry about how you separate your keywords on the backend. But let's talk about search term phrases. So a phrase means when you have two or more keywords separated with spaces. This is how naturally people type when they do a search. They type one keyword and then another separated by a space, and this is called a phrase. So Amazon is testing in the last months indexing what I showed you before when the phrase is indexed while the single keyword is not phrased and is not indexed. So how should you actually write phrases in the backend, and should you repeat phrases? So here's the rule. Even if you repeat in the backend, this will not actually be penalized by Amazon. Some people report that when they call Amazon, they tell them that you don't need to repeat keywords in the backend because they will not be indexed. But this is not what we've seen. There are many different reasons why keywords will not be indexed, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just wanted to tell you how you can separate keyword phrases in the backend. So it's the same logical way how you separate keywords in the front end. Amazon machine learning is actually close to artificial intelligence. So what they're trying to do is to figure out people's behavior. So don't overthink the search term fields. There should be just natural phrases, the same what you expect people to search on Amazon, and only phrases that you don't already have in the front end, in the title, bullet points, and description. So don't only put in the back, for example, misspellings, translations to different languages. That, for example, in US, a lot of people are searching Spanish keywords. So you can, if Amazon tells you that if there is no place, or if it doesn't look natural in the front, you should use that for the search terms. Everything else, you should optimize your listing in the front end. So another question that I get a lot is, should I write the phrases in a certain way, and should I repeat, like, for example, in this way, should I write rule notebook and then notebook ruled, so I can get both phrases indexed? If you do a little test on Amazon, you'll see that actually only 2 results here from close to 31,000 results. There's only 2 listings, the difference between one and the other. So 2 of the listings are not indexed for that second search term. So you don't have to worry too much about that. You have to write it in the most logical and natural way. So recently, Amazon changed the length again in the bullet points. So if you remember before, they started from 50, then 250 characters length, then it went to 250, some categories 200 limited. Now they're experimenting with 500 characters for most categories. Some categories like clothing, I think, and jewelry, they still have 100 characters limit, but for most categories they experiment actually with longer bullet points. So they realize that information for Google search, which is actually what Google will see, should be in the front. So instead of stuffing all of your keywords in the backend, what most people do, now they try to make you to put all of these keywords in the front end, and because it's more beneficial for them to get traffic from Google. And it should be for you, because you can get additional sales from all the traffic that comes from Google. So instead of putting all of your secret, quote unquote, keywords in the backend, you should instead optimize your listing for those keywords. And only, as I said, some different keywords that you don't want to appear, like translations from Spanish, whatever. You can only use those in the backend. So what about character count in the how many characters actually indexed? People report from 400 characters indexed to 2,000 characters only indexed. So this is an experiment I did. This is the same async that I used through the presentation. This is the bullet points for, as you can see, I highlighted in green the keywords which are indexed. So you can see 1,065 characters total indexed from the bullet points. All the rest are not. So this is how it works. It's not taking, for example, your backend keywords only. Amazon is looking for the total amount of characters that you use. So if you use, for example, a short title, you can have more keywords indexed in the bullet points. If you have a longer title, you'll have less indexed keywords in the bullet points.
So do you mean 1,065 including the title?
No, in this case, I'm showing 1,065 highlighted in green right now. So more keywords are actually indexed. The title in this case is completely indexed, and all the rest of the listing, for example, the description, is not indexed. So this is why you shouldn't use too long titles, bullet points in description, because they will not be indexed, anyway. So why should you do it that way?
And how do you measure, how do you find out how many characters are indexed?
This is done actually by River Cleaner. So when you do indexing in the, you can, every field that you have, you can check indexing. We have a indexing button next to each field, so you can actually see. Manual way, which I showed you in the beginning, is you can grab any text from your link, from your listing, and paste it after your ASIN, and this will tell you if it's indexed or not. So instead of doing it manually, it will be very tedious, to check keywords one by one, and then you have to check also the keyword phrases. It can take hours and hours to search, which is not indexed or not. But we made it, simpler for users to check indexing. But here's the rule: if everything is short and tidy as it should be, as Amazon suggests, actually, everything will be indexed. So if you look this example right here, it's a perfect example how not to write bullet points. And I want to just go back to my previous point, why sellers write in all caps. Like, this drives me crazy when I see bullet points in all caps. So why sellers write in all caps? The only reason why you do that is because you want to be legible. If you have a big block like this and it's unreadable, if you actually scale the window, if you make it narrow or wider, this can actually change a little bit. But in general, it will be one big block of text, so people don't really go and read all these words. It's difficult to read. This is why Amazon back in the days, they actually, it was limited to 200 characters, because this is what makes them. And if you look for Amazon listings, I just want to show you an Amazon listing, if I have one here. Yeah, if you go look for any Amazon, for example, this is Amazon Basics. So if you type on Amazon by Amazon, you will get all the listings sold by Amazon, and this is what they look like usually. They have a maximum of 100 characters. This one, the longest here right now, is 96 characters. And the title is usually below 80 characters. So the question is Amazon actually optimized? Do they know how to optimize their listings? What do you think Amazon is doing? They're doing money. They know how to optimize their listings. So if you look their listings, they're all short and to the point, and they follow a certain style guide. So you can see no all caps, no punctuation, no exclamation marks, and everything is separated by column instead of with point. It makes it easier to read. It forces you to put the most important information up front. So if you read something like this, try it today, or 30-day money-back guarantee, this will actually guarantee you it will not be indexed, and it can cause you only trouble. It is in the style guides, and Amazon recently started to force actually the style guides, which is brand new. And I posted it in here in the Facebook group. This was never seen before. Only the terms of service were forced by Amazon. You can actually lose your selling privileges if you don't follow the terms of service. But right now we can see that they actually threaten you that if you don't follow the style guides, you can see that note here in red. If you include any elements in your product title that are listed in the down box above, your selling privileges could be removed. So if you, in other words, if you use all caps in the title, and if you capitalize conjunctions, articles, and whatever, and if you don't follow the rules, they can actually suspend your account. which is, I think, is this is actually only shown in one of the style guides, which is Home and Garden, and it only talks about the title if you read. But I'm pretty sure this will be pretty soon, forced by Amazon for all the other categories and for all the other elements in your listing. So let me go back to so keywords being indexed. Any keyword can be indexed. Even if you made up a keyword that doesn't exist in the vocabulary, you can still get that indexed. And any character also can be indexed, which doesn't mean that you have to use any keyword or character in your backend, because Amazon have both. They have like automated systems that go regularly through your listings, and they will de-index not relevant keywords. In other words, keywords that doesn't contribute or doesn't connect in any way to all the others. This is what it's the most important factor in Amazon is relevancy for both advertising and for search results. So you have to be relevant to what you're selling. That's why keywords, they have a lot of keywords that are considered not relevant, such as promotional language, like special, best, and all the marketing keywords that you can use. They don't actually contribute to sales, and they will de-index them in time, especially for low volume sales, listings. These will be de-indexed. Offensive words, of course, you can't use any offensive words. They will be automatically de-indexed. Any subjective claim, for example, premium or luxury, also will be de-indexed in most cases. Okay, we talked about that. So these are the bullet point style guides. They tell you, how to structure the product, the key product features, not to use any hyphens, symbols, or exclamation marks, not to write vague statements, and be as specific as possible, and don't enter company-specific information. And spell measurements, separate phrases with semicolons, and to use numbers as numerals. Every category has their specific style guide, but these are, you can see this one says in Home and Garden, still says that you have 100 characters per line. They have a category-specific requirements, but pretty much they're all the same what you see in here, except for if you see on the top of the page here, except for the product title. They have a specific pattern that you have to follow in the title, which actually is from split text testing from Amazon. They actually notice that if you follow that pattern, it gives the most information to the buyer, so they'll be more likely to buy. So this is in conclusion. If you keep it short, most of the keywords will be indexed. So use your best keywords, don't stuff information, because it will not give you much more traffic, but much more trouble. Follow the terms of service in the style guides. Use synonyms because they help with relevancy, and this is how people, actually search on Amazon. Separate with spaces, except I'll tell you just because how our software works. If you want to test keyword phrases, in indexing, you can separate them with commas, so that our software can catch up and actually check the whole phrase instead of just a separate keyword. But at the end, it doesn't matter. It will not hurt in any way. So if you want to use barbecue skewers in the backend and you want to check that complete phrase for indexing, put comma after the phrase, and then all the rest of your keywords you can either separate with comma or with spaces. Don't overthink the backend keywords. They're not that important that you think, and it's always the Pareto rules. If 80% of your traffic is coming from 20% of the keywords, so find your best keywords and use them in the front. You'll get a lot of traffic from Google and all the love of Amazon. So this is how you can do it with River Cleaner. If you don't know how many characters will be actually indexed for your category, your listing, start using your best keywords and a few days later check indexing. Next, add new relevant keywords to your listing. A few days later, check again your index. If everything is indexed, add more keywords that you think are relevant to your listing. If you start seeing keywords that are de-indexed, this means that you reach your max character count for your listing, and Amazon starts being picky about your keywords, and they will start de-index a few of them. Delete those keywords. Those are considered not as relevant as the others by Amazon. And then you can actually go and add more, different keywords. So it's a never-ending process. And as we talked about that in the beginning, it's a good thing because Amazon will actually re-index anytime you do a change, and will give you a little boost, and this will help you with your sales. So I hope this answers most of your questions. I'm pretty sure that you have, many other questions, but I'll be happy to answer many of them right now and after the webinar.
Yeah, all right. So yes, there are a couple of questions. So to your last slide, Carole says that her testing showed that she could have maximum 250 characters in each backend keyword line. And when she added another word and got to 259 characters, everything stopped indexing. So yeah, basically she could have 250 characters in the backend, and then when she added another word and it was 259 total characters, everything stopped indexing. I don't know if she means everything, even 250 first characters didn't index, or just what was after 250. So
yeah, so this could be a coincidence, or it could be because of the total character count also. And also some categories, they have limited. And in different countries is also different. So we don't know which country is this. But anyway, you can write me an email after the webinar, and we'll actually go and look with you what exactly is the reason.
Mm-hmm. Evelyn, do you want to switch off your screen sharing?
Oh, yeah,
because
sure.
we still see your screen. So let's go through the top of the questions. So through the first questions. So Mike was asking, did you say to use spaces in the backend and commas on the front end? And I replied to him that basically there is no difference which character you are using to separate the words. That's correct.
Correct. So in the front end, you can actually use both spaces and commas. So the same, the same front and the back, you can use both, if you want.
And then Era Paints was asking, what do you mean by backend and front end? Maybe you can explain shortly.
Yeah, so backend, we mean, when we say backend, we actually talk about the backend keywords. Those are never shown in the Amazon catalog. That's why we call it backend.
Okay. Role was happy about the trick of putting keywords in the description if you are using enhanced brand content. So, and
Sorry, say again?
Carole was happy about the trick to put keywords in the description if you are using enhanced brand content.
Yeah, so enhanced brand content is actually indexed by Google. So when you write your enhanced brand content, you have to focus primarily on Google. So the rule is you need to use about 4% of your main keyword in the text, so it will be picked up by Google and show for that keyword, and this will drive additional traffic. But when you do the description, which is hidden actually from Google, you only optimize for Amazon.
Okay, Christian wants to know, how do you separate the phrases, the phrase keywords?
Yeah, so phrases, every keyword that you use that are close together to one to another will be considered a phrase. So you can separate them with a comma or just with space. It doesn't matter. It will be the same result for Amazon. Only when you use River Cleaner, because there's no way for us to know where the phrase is ending, you need to use comma when you separate the phrase from the other keywords.
Okay. Baby Blogger asks, so we use phrases in the search terms and not individual keywords, right?
Key phrases you should only use in the backend if they're not already in the other fields. Example, if you're using barbecue skewer in the title and you have stainless steel skewer, whatever, in the bullet points, you shouldn't use that again in the backend. There's no point to repeat it in the backend. But then you can use some of the translated keywords. For example, in Spanish, you can use that phrase in the backend keyword fields.
Okay, I hope that answers the question of the person. Era Paints, she's referring to the previous question where we asked how to separate phrase keywords. So she says, if this is the case, how do you separate a single word from a phrase keyword?
So you separate them with the space again.
So basically there are only spaces between the words. So there is no really a separation between a single keyword and a single phrase.
No, there's no separation. So if you want to be considered as a phrase, keywords should be close together. So barbecue skewer should come together and not separated with many other keywords in the backend. So if you use barbecue skewer and in between you put 5-6 other keywords, obviously it will not be as strong as when they're together.
And double quote separation doesn't work like in some other platforms or programming languages?
No, it doesn't work. It will be the same result. It will be replaced by a space.
Yeah, it's very interesting observation you made that basically Amazon removes any trash or any character which is not a letter, and it just searches for a group of letters and takes it as a word, and then the rest of the characters it replaces with a space. It's interesting. So Chris was asking, do phrases need to be repeated multiple times in the bullet points or description in order to be indexed, or is stating something just one time is enough?
The only reason why you need to repeat phrases or keywords in your listing is because of Google search optimization. For Amazon, it will not help as much if you use, for example, synonyms instead of repeating the same keyword. But if you repeat 2 or 3 times the same keyword, for example, if you have that keyword in the title and then you decide to repeat it in the bullet point and in the description, this will not be penalized. It's actually natural because it's hard to avoid repetitions when you describe the product, right? When you naturally write about something, you use the same keywords over and over. So yes, you can repeat phrases and keywords in the front, but those keywords, there's no point to be in the backend keywords.
Era Pains says she would like to learn some sort of algorithm to know how many characters total are being indexed on your listing, let's say. So you mentioned that you can use River Cleaner, but is there some easy way to double check up till which point the Amazon has indexed your description and bullet points?
In our experience, about 2,000 characters total, including title, bullet points, description, and backend keywords, are indexed all the time. So you should always try to fit in those. So if you look the limitation in the description, for example, for most categories, 2,000 characters alone. But Amazon actually, if you look their listings, this is the best thing you can do is just consult one of Amazon's listings. And for those of you who looked watched my webinar with Karen Taxton, we actually, I told a story how by switching from a seller central to a seller vendor, Amazon actually took control of my listing and they totally modified what we did. So they removed a lot of the trash, what they think that it's a trash, and they left it pretty much as what I showed you on the screen. Only the most important information should show. People don't usually have the time to read. If they have to read all that stuff, that means that information is not clear up front. Your information should be first in the title, should say exactly what is the product, and if it's not clear from the title and the images, you're already in trouble. Then you have to go and explain in more detail in the bullet points in the description. But description is actually probably the last thing people are checking, and they only check when they have doubts about that product. There are some categories, for example, if you sell cell phone cases, you will need to put all the models compatible with that case and different information like this. And this, if you look on mobile how the listing shows, you'll see that they actually show all of the characters right now in the bullet points, but they will only show just a tiny chunk of your description, which can tell you which one is more important. They want all the information to be in the bullet points instead of so try to make it really short everywhere, title, bullet points.
But have you, on a mobile device, Amazon listing is showing first the description. Have you run any tests that, let's say, if you're on the mobile, Amazon shows you different search results? Because maybe, it shows description first, so.
Yeah, they show description first, but the size of the box, if you see, it's very small. They only show just the, first 1-2 sentences of your description. But then when you scroll down to the bullet points, they show all of them. Like the first 3 bullet points are total length shown.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we're having a lot of questions. So another question is about variations. Do all the child ASINs need to be updated in bullet points, descriptions, etc.?
Yeah, so child should be optimized. Usually, parent listings is not indexed, so we have to optimize each child listing bullet point description, try to make them different from one each other, because you can target different markets and different keywords with different listings, and actually when they land in your listing, they will then be able to see your different styles.
Adam wants to know, does the order of keywords and phrases make a difference on the front end and back end?
Yeah, it makes a difference. You have to really, if you go, for example, to Google Keyword Planner, you'll be able to see the phrase that makes most traffic. So barbecue skewer can give you more results than skewer barbecue, because it's the most natural way how people search.
And another, I would say, related question, does the title ranks over bullet points or are equal in weight? So title versus bullet points, who is first?
First is title, is the most important keyword, should appear in front of the title. So title has maximum of 6 keywords that show in the vanity URL. In other words, the URL which you see in the search box, for example, on Google Chrome, 5 to 6 keywords will be shown in there. So these should be your strongest keywords. And then next comes the bullet points.
Carola was talking earlier about this 250 characters being indexed, and then when she extended the line, the whole bullet point was not indexed. So she says that even seller support advised her to keep the line under 250 characters to be indexed. Otherwise, yeah. So, and someone else is commenting that in Germany, many categories allow only, well, not allow, but they are indexing only 250 characters. So maybe Carola is selling in Europe.
Yeah, so it's possible in Europe. It's not still, they're not the same algorithm, as the .com. But in general, I will repeat again, you have to keep everything short and you'll have no troubles with indexing.
And someone wants to know if Home and Garden style guide was just updated. Are you aware of that?
Home and Garden, I think what I show on the screen, yeah, this is a new note which says, don't use the don't box.
Okay, so the screenshot was from the new updates for this category. Adam says, how does the computer know what is a phrase and what is just 2 keywords separated by a space?
Yeah, that's a complex programming, stuff. So Amazon has a very strong algorithm, and machine learning. If you study AWS, it's not an easy stuff to learn. So they have a way to figure out what is a phrase and what is not.
Danny says, if you use short title and bullets, does Amazon automatically start doing broad search based off or relevancy? So if
yeah. I see what says, Amazon recently, last year when they started doing broad and exact match for PPC, this is where they're headed right now. Right now, it still works only as a broad match. There's no exact match in search.
Okay, someone has a question about River Cleaner. He says, I have been using River Cleaner for 2 months and I love it, but can we check indexing more frequently, Evelyn? Yeah, can we check indexing more frequently? And then he says, Evelyn has been a great help on the software and more always replies in person.
Yeah, so we actually disabled recently we disabled that. We only allow to check indexing once every 24 hours. This is actually a requirement for Amazon. You don't want to overdo indexing because they will not re-index that often. Even if you see your keywords, if you play, for example, with your keywords and you can see them indexed in 2 to 5 minutes, it doesn't mean that that keyword will stay indexed anyway. So just because you just saw it to appear in the search results, doesn't mean that will stay there. So for that reason, we discourage people to check indexing all the time as soon as they do a change. You rather need to change every few days your listing and then do the necessary changes.
So since we are touching the topic of River Cleaner, could you tell a little bit more what features does your tool offer?
Yeah, if you can go to the page, to the rivercleaner.com, you'll see all the features. We have about 30 features right now. The main features that we're doing, we actually monitor Amazon for changes in the terms of service and in the style guides. And as soon as they do a change, you are the first one to be able to apply that to your listing. And this gives you advantage over your competitors, which will be sometimes notified months after the change. And you can take advantage of that knowledge to make more sales and to be optimized and to be compliant with the Amazon terms. We do keywords research, PPC optimization, and right now we're working on an email sequence program, which will be, completely different from what you see from the other softwares out there. So we try to be in a place in the market where you don't usually see a competitor in that niche. And we're trying to do the most of the stuff that you do daily with your orders, like search order by buyer's name, or to reveal a hidden reviewer, for example, when it says Amazon customer and you don't know who to contact. We have little services like this that help your daily tasks.
And your tool works on all marketplaces, most popular ones, or just selected ones?
Most features work in US and UK, but we gradually add more. The 5 countries in the UK, for example, are all supported, and right now we're working to support Australia and Canada.
You said Australia. They are not selling yet, or you think they will be soon?
Well, actually, I've been just contacted by an Australian seller, and they told me that actually River Cleaner is working in Australia, and but it's not completely finished. Yeah.
Okay, so back to some more questions. Someone says, many have said that title plus backend equals 450 characters. So any thoughts on that? And then he says, or is it a combination of title, bullet points, backend, and description?
So as I showed you earlier with the highlighted green, those are bullet points indexed. So in that case, the bullet points were all indexed, by the description wasn't indexed. So yes, the answer is the total character counts, including title, bullet points, description, and keywords in the backend.
Okay, another question. So for example, you wanted two keywords, barbecue skewer and black as two keywords. One of them being a phrase. Okay, so maybe she's referring to what we were talking. I don't see a question, but basically so people I think are confused about phrase indexing, how to separate from single words. So basically you don't think about phrase as a separate entity. You just make sure that this phrase these words are coming together, together without any additional words in between, and that's it.
Exactly. So we were trying, like a month ago, we were trying to separate phrases with the OR operator. So this made it short. Instead of repeating the same keyword over and over, or the same phrase, for example, red barbecue skewer and blue barbecue skewer, instead of repeating those phrases and separate them either with a space or a comma, you can separate them with the OR operator. But later, this week, we realized that actually the OR operator is also replaced by a space. So it doesn't actually do anything. It just helps you to put two phrases close together, so it actually be picked up as a phrase by Amazon.
Okay, Nenad is asking, can we use HTML code like a star in the bullet points?
You can. Many people are using it, but it doesn't actually help with sales. This is what Amazon tells you. There are like green check marks people using in the bullet points, and sometimes grabs the attention. But the style guide, says that not to use any special. So I'm not sure if it's considered a special character in that case, like if you use a HTML code. But we never seen anyone having problem using that. The only problem that you can have is that this will actually be counted to the total character count. And if in one HTML code for one, there's like how many there are, like probably 6 or 8 characters, which makes one bullet point. So if you're using for all 5, you're reducing your character count.
About like last year on my website, I published information about this special character, like making a nice green checkbox in your bullet points. And then I was contacted by someone saying that he knew a seller who had trouble with Amazon because he was using these kind of HTML characters. But I think it's like maybe very rare case that people get in trouble for these HTML characters. So. And again, the question about the order. So in which order? Title, bullet points, description, and backend terms are indexed for the 2000 limit?
So always title first, bullet points second, and then goes to description and backend keywords. So when you optimize your listing, optimize for title and bullet points.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a similar question. Does Evelyn know the order of precedence for keyword areas? Description first, keyword second, bullets third. Not sure. Probably she's asking the same.
Yeah.
Okay, but there is a fine line between keeping the bullet points short and at the same time put in words that need to be indexed. So yeah, basically maybe a person wants to use a lot of keywords, but if to keep bullet points short, then he feels limited.
So yeah, it depends on the category. You have to make that decision how much information you want to provide. So as I told you, for example, for phone cases and other categories, you have no choice but to provide all that models, for example, in the bullet points, because this is what people actually search for. They want to see, okay, is this working for my device? So they go look for if it's in there. One trick that you can do in bullet points, if you want to use the maximum character length allowed, which is right now 500, try to make the last, for example, if you have 3 lines, try to make the last one to be just 1 word. So this will give you like a white space between the bullet points. Let me probably share my screen and show you what I mean, if you can't imagine. I'll just open one of the examples that we had here for the bullet point. So you see how I have like in the last here we have, it says Bible journaling, and then you have like that white space. You can actually use that white space as a separator, so it makes it for the user, easier to. And this one here. So if you just use, for example, three lines, and then you make that 1 word at the end, this will give you a little white between the blocks, and it makes it, a little bit easier for the eye. I hope this, answers the question.
Yeah, it's a nice trick. Of course, it depends a little bit on the size of the screen, maybe, but
yeah, exactly. It depends on the size of the screen, but in general, it will, if you just use like something like, I think it's limited to 600 pixels or something like this. Even if you have a large screen and you made it as wide as possible, it will actually not flow to the end. It still has some limits. So in general, when you keep your last sentence in a few words, and it will give you that white separation.
Okay, one more question about number of characters. If you have used 2000 characters in your title, bullets, and description, does that mean your backend is irrelevant and will not be indexed at all?
So what happens is sometimes their system is not perfect, and when they encounter 3, 4, 5 words in a row that are not indexed, they will actually de-index all the rest of the listing. So we've seen that number of times when, what I show you on the screen, this is what happens when they index to the point when it says, try today, and then money back guarantee, and all the other forbidden stuff, they actually stop indexing all the rest of the listing. So this is what happens sometimes. All of the front is indexed, then they start indexing, checking index on the back end, and at some point they will stop indexing the back end, for example. And many people complain that my first 3 lines, my 3 first fields are indexed, but 4th and 5th are never indexed. Why is this happening? And most of the cases is because they have one keyword which is not indexed, and it's stopping all the rest to be indexed, or they have just reached the total, the limit of the characters.
Okay. And it's interesting question from Era. Does a plural word index separately from singular? For example, peers and peer. Do these need to be a separate keywords?
Most of the keywords, Amazon accounts for them, so you don't need to use the plural. It will be actually considered already part of your listing if you do. If in just rare cases when Amazon doesn't account for those keywords, they will not be indexed, but you don't have to worry about that most of the cases.
So no need to use plural.
No need.
Okay, another question is about Amazon URL. So the person says that one of the listings have 5 keywords in the URL, but they seem to be totally random and in fact not relevant. not most relevant to the product. So how can we control the URL?
So to control the URL, there is a little trick. You start typing your main 6 keywords, but again, they need to be arranged in the most logical way. You have to be readable, not just stuffing keywords. And when you're finished with your 6 more important, then you place a dash after that, and Amazon will take those 6 and it will structure your vanity URL with those keywords. Sometimes people, use they just stuff in keywords in there, and Amazon will randomly pick one of these. They will just try to pick one of these 5 or 6 keywords and use it for the URL.
Bidovi asks, does it make sense to put models 2 times in the title? Models, I don't know, it's maybe language, not a native speaker, so he refers to models.
Probably models of phones or devices.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually need, Amazon advises you to use models in the bullet points. But this is, again, you have to decide, because many times people, when this is a very competitive, for example, market when it becomes to models, usually. So if you look, for example, for a Wi-Fi antenna, and you type in the search box Wi-Fi TP-Link, and then the model, if it appears in the title, people will recognize that right away and will click on it. So in that case, even if Amazon advises models to be in the bullet points, you want to use the model in the title because it will make the user recognize in the search results when bullet points are not shown. So it depends what it is. If it's a Wi-Fi antenna, you have only one model, you can use it, of course, in the title. If it's something like phone cases, and you have, in this case, for example, if it's 5 different models, then it will be unnatural to be in the title. You will still appear in search, and probably you just want to use 1 or 2 models in the title, and then all the rest put it in the bullet points. You have to decide by case, category by category.
And Mike is referring to the previous question about 6 keywords, what you answered about Amazon URL. So he says, can you please repeat the comment about the 6 keywords, then dash in the title?
So you separate 6 keywords with spaces, and after the last one, you put dash. This will tell Amazon to use these 6 keywords in the URL.
And after dash, nothing?
After dash, you continue your title, the other stuff that you want to.
Okay. Okay, another question. Carola, she was talking earlier about this 250 character limitation in her listings, and she says, I had done some manual checking of search terms for indexing on Amazon US and found that many were not indexed. I'd recommend that sellers here test a few manually, as shown in how to do it in this webinar. ASIN followed by keyword. Test a few keywords from the end of your backend lines and a few from your last bullet. And then if not indexed, just try to make 250 characters per line. So yeah, so she's just explaining how to test. Okay, David says, on the listing you are showing the first words in the bullet points are all caps. I thought the standard you showed stated not to use all caps for words. Is it okay to use all caps for some words?
It is against the style guide to use any caps. The example I showed you is how to not write bullet points. So that's that characters, that special character that they use, the all caps, the punctuation, it's all against the style guides on Amazon. They actually, when they do the split testing, they figure that if you don't use those, this will actually help you to convert in more sales. This is why they compile to the style guides to help you and them make more money. This is all it's all about, is about how to convert visitors into more sales. So this is why you have to study the style guides and follow them, because sooner or later, as we've shown with that, home and garden, they will start forcing you to use them and to follow them. Or just ask yourself one question. If you have, for example, a website, if you own a website and you have some rules about, people want to follow, but they don't follow them, what would you do with them? Would you penalize them or would you just ignore them? So Amazon is doing the same. They will silently penalizing you for not following the rules. And you penalize yourself actually, because money back guarantee is not actually helping you a lot, because this is Amazon explicitly says do not use these keywords. And there are more than 250 keywords that we compiled, which are actually forbidden by Amazon, and they don't have a place when they show you all of the keywords. They just mention few words here and there in the style guides when you read them, but it's over 600 pages when you start reading the style guides. But over the years, we compiled over 250 keywords that are actually Amazon doesn't want you to use, and this is how they penalize you. You'll lose positions and you're losing from conversion if you're using them.
Did you mean that River Cleaner can tell you that, let's say I write this item is a special item, and then River Cleaner will highlight the word special that it will not be indexed or something like that?
No, River Cleaner actually will slap you while you're typing, or as soon as you open your listing, it will tell you what you did wrong, including all the forbidden keywords separated by gravity. So we use color differentiators to tell you where you have to act fast. So if you see something in red in your listing, it means that you have to fix it right away. If you see something in green or in orange or in gray, it means it's not that urgent, but we still advise you to take a look and fix it. So yeah, River Cleaner is telling you everything that needs to be fixed in your listing according to the style guides in terms of service and according to our experience as Amazon sellers. And we're talking to, when we develop River Cleaner, we talk to Amazon reps all the time, like daily. We communicate with them, and we learn a lot through these talks. And all of that knowledge, it's implemented in the River Cleaner.
And someone is asking, can you share those 250 keywords Amazon doesn't want us to use?
Yeah, we have it actually separated by different categories in the River Cleaner. Keywords like sale, cure, discount, money back, bestseller, and everything that is considered, subjective. For example, something like awesome or great. It can be awesome for you, but not awesome for someone else. Gifts, and there are many different keywords that doesn't actually help. Amazon tells you that they don't help you with sales. This is their opinion. They tell you to avoid it.
So person says, you mentioned one keyword could block the rest. I just had this today, but then the whole block of keywords wasn't indexed. So how do you find the toxic keyword?
So if you do that manually, you have to grab the whole block of text where you think that there's a problem, paste it after the asyn, and then start deleting keywords one by one until you see the orange text appear that it's they found it in the catalog. Now this is the manual way. The automated ways, we did it to River Cleaner. When you click to a button that you have next to each field, it will tell you exactly which keyword is not indexed. And when it's not indexed, there's two ways to act. One is just deleting that keyword, and actually River Cleaner will keep that in memory so that we can bring it back after. Because sometimes it's not indexed for some reason, but this is a very important keyword for you, and you don't want to lose that. You want to try that again later, like reducing the total character count and then use back that keyword. So I advise you, before you delete anything, keep a record of your title, bullet points, and description somewhere in a text file or in a Word file. And then when you see a keyword that is not indexed, delete that keyword and replace it with something else, or just wait for Amazon to re-index your listing and see how that affects your sales.
I think some people still need clarification about the Amazon URL trick in the title. So someone says dash in the title. The person says that it seems that Amazon does not like dashes in the title. What do you think about that?
So actually dash, if I remember correctly, is allowed in the title. And same, I never tried with comma, but actually you need something to separate those keywords to tell Amazon, use these keywords in the title. So you can experiment with, for example, with the pipe symbol. People are using that also. Yeah, River Cleaner will tell you if it's allowed or not. I think dash is allowed in the title.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically 5 keywords, the dash, and then you continue the title.
Yes.
Of course, the 5 keywords should make sense because the person will be reading in the search results the title of your product. And
exactly, you don't want to just put 5 keywords which think you're the best keywords. Just structure your title in a way that it makes sense. It gives the most useful information to the buyer.
Okay, one of the last questions. On the point of clarification, you mentioned that about the child variation. So you said it's better to have 2 different listings with different keywords linked to the one parent. Is this correct?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, so the person wants to ask if it's correct how he understood that. In the child variations, it is better to have 2 different listings with different keywords linked to one parent.
Correct. So this will give you maximum exposure to Amazon, because if you're using the same keywords in every single child, you're not targeting different keywords. Instead, you can use your best keywords. You put those keywords in the title of one of the listings, and then the other next strong keywords that you have in the next title for the other child. This will give you, when someone searches through Amazon, it will show one or the other listing, and it will give you much more exposure.
Is River Cleaner working internationally for all international Amazon platforms?
Right now, we work in US, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain.
Okay. Do you find that putting in the brand as the first word in your title is important, or can we put it in the end?
According to the style guides, Amazon wants you to use the brand upfront, but also you can use it at the end, because on mobile phone, you want to show as much as you can on your title. So if you have a long brand name, it doesn't make sense to put that in front and lose all that space. So what you can use is you can use by brand name at the end of the title.
Okay, I think this is everything from the questions. There is someone who was saying, can you make some comments about PPC, how to make the perfect PPC campaign with keywords? But I think it's a completely different topic.
I think we should do another webinar on that, but structuring your title and bullet points the correct way, using a lot of synonyms, can actually help you also with PPC and lowering the bidding prices.
All right, that's it for this time. A lot of people are still, well, there are some people still with us, and Carola says, thank you, lots of good info. Top Dog Best Games LLC also says thanks. So I think there was a lot of valuable information. Thanks a lot, Evelyn, for bringing this up, for hosting the platform, the webinar on your YouTube channel. And yeah, I think.
Thank you for having me. And if you decide to go and sign up with River Cleaner, actually, you can directly speak with me. You can schedule a call if you have a lot of questions. I actually have a promotion for the first 20 people that sign with River Cleaner today. I'm giving 30 minutes call, one-on-one call with me. So as soon as you sign up, you will receive an email with a link where you can schedule a call and we can talk about your specific problem.
Okay, so yeah, another person says thank you. Vidovis says thanks, I'll contact you. And all right, so people, if they sign up, they will get your email address, I guess, and they can just reach out to you. All
Correct.
Right, thanks. Good. David says, thank you. I'd love to be on a PPC webinar. So good idea for the future. All right, Evelyn, bye-bye for now. Thanks a lot for bringing so much interesting information.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.